From a scientific point of view, I believe every decision we make is based off a combination of chemical reactions and forces inside our brain. I know your purpose out here is to, I guess, show people your point of view and to kind of convert people into your thinking by showing them your rationale. But to convert people like me, you would need something extremely physical and something you can actually point to and test. You can't point to a concept.
The line of thinking you just gave me is self-defeating, because all that you have done so far with me is not use science in this discussion. You have only used reason and logic. So when you say to me, unless you can show something to me scientifically, meaning by that physically, I can't believe in it, you're contradicting yourself, because everything that you have done so far with me today has nothing to do with physical. It has to do with reason and logic. And you can't take reason and logic and put them in a test tube. Rather, reason and logic are the ability to think and follow along a line of thought logically, reasonably. That's a wonderful way to understand truth. And I can also promise you, when you go into your science lab, that is also another wonderful way to discover truth. But I can promise you, it is different. Science has to do with the repeatability of an experiment. And it's a very physical process, and it's a great process. But what you have done with me so far has nothing to do with science. It has everything to do with philosophy, reason, and logic, none of which is material or physical.
I guess I just have a problem believing in something, into an entity that you can't possibly perceive without foregoing all your scientific knowledge.
Sir, there is absolutely no contradiction between science and love, science and justice, science and God. No contradiction. But obviously, here's the mistake too many Americans make. The mistake is to think, unless I can scientifically prove something, it's not true. That is self-refuting. Please scientifically prove to me that unless you can scientifically prove something, it's not true. You can't do it. Instead, what you've got to do is you've got to be honest enough with yourself to say, I just contradicted myself. Science is a wonderful branch of knowledge, but there are other forms of knowledge that are even more precious to me in this life, like goodness, integrity, love, forgiveness. I mean, how do you go on a scientific date? That would be very boring. How do you run a family scientifically? That would be incredibly hollow, trite, trivial family. So yes, science is very important, but good gracious, there's so much more to truth and to reality than simply science.